Hello, we are live.
Ooh, nice.
Would you mind just checking on the
puppies, my mortal enemies.
Somewhere out there's a kitten crying.
Is everybody here? I hope so.
You can't
believe so.
anything.
Okay. My mind is all over the place because of my illness, but don't you worry. It should be an entertaining show. Did we come up with a topic, by the way?
No.
No.
Cat, my other greatest fear.
What?
Gary's put some pussy on the stream.
Well, Spherical seemed to think that I was being unfair to the kittens, so I thought I'd redress the balance.
Well, my people appreciate the gesture.
Puppies and cats.
I thought we might get some more viewers if I put in cute animals, because that's what people on the internet love, right?
Absolutely. Right, off we go. It's Thursday, 14th of September, and you're listening to the GrinCast, the live edition. So everything is going to go wrong this evening. I'm your host this evening, Cal, and I'm very ill, but nonetheless, it's still going to be an enjoyable show. So join with me is Ace.
Hello.
Dominoid.
Hello.
Puce.
Hello.
And Catty.
Hello.
Wonderful. So, let's jump straight into some news, I guess. There's a little bit of an awkward topic that we were discussing a little while in the back, where there was two popular YouTubers playing Counter-Strike, enjoyable, blah, 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 and they kept talking about a particular lotto website where you can trade in your skins and you can gamble in them for real money. And it turns out they owned the website, and they got into some serious shit over it. Now, though, after a few months, and it's gone to court, all they got, really, at the end of it, was a fucking slap on the wrist. And, yeah. What sort of makes of this situation when you've got technically an illegal situation where they're owning this gambling website, they're promoting it, not even mentioning that they're the owners of it, and yeah, I can get away with it. That's pretty ridiculous.
I think the issue we've got is the law has never really been up to date with technology, and there isn't really a specific law saying that you can't run sort of unmentioned adverts on YouTube streaming content. I'm sure it will be law soon, but it's kind of, at the moment, it's only really down to guidelines from people like the Advertising Standards Agency. But there's no specific law that says you will get fined for doing this, like there would be if you were to use unmentioned product placement on a TV program, for example. So, yeah, I strongly disagree with the fact that they've got away with it, but from a legal standpoint, I don't think there's really any laws that I know of that they've actually broken.
Isn't it kind of like insider trading?
It is a little bit.
It's like insider trading, but it doesn't fit the legal definition of insider trading, so they can't be arrested for doing it.
But they're still going to get fined. I was reading that the FTC will require proper disclosure from them, so they will enforce sort of violations that they've done. So they're going to get fined about 30 grand. But still, that's pennies to probably the amount of money they've made from the Lotto website. It's not the first time I mean, previously, I'm just looking at the article about it. So, like, back in March, YouTuber Greg Nepezenzes, Douglas, the YouTuber name, he was ordered to pay fines of £91,000 for running a gambling website which used the FIFA Ultimate Team coins. And his business associate was also ordered to pay nearly 200 grand of fines. So, well, there's not really much difference between the two. So why do these Counter-Strike guys get less off of a less fine?
Yeah, it's definitely a funny situation, especially when in a lot of the cases, didn't they sort of rig the winning so that people watching streams would think, oh, actually, it's quite high odds of winning. Look, this streamer's like won 3 times in a row and things like that. And
yeah, that's the misleading things. What I find really wrong is they're promoting. It's not the fact that they're promoting; it's the fact that they're rigging what they're showing. Saying, "Hey guys, we found this awesome website. You know, you're instant going to win because they own the website, so they can change the output of how the percentage of what your chances are."
Because at the end of the day, them advertising that they run a gambling website and it's gambling, and if they're upfront about it, surely there's nothing really wrong with that. It's the fact that they're so shady about it all.
Yeah.
It's also the fact that their channels predominantly are aimed at kids, people sort of young teenagers especially. There's a case of one 14-year-old gambled away nearly $600 in one sitting. That's sort of the biggest thing, and I think the FTC have missed an opportunity to make an example out of these two to set precedent for future cases, because now these two have pretty much gotten off scot-free. If someone else comes along and does the same thing, there is now precedent for them to not be punished.
Yeah, you can just rap us on the knuckles and we'll be alright.
Does it actually count as gambling? Like, is it restricted as gambling is in the UK?
It's more a form of gambling than legally gambling. Yeah, it's one of those situations. It's like loot boxes in games, isn't it? It's technically very similar to gambling, but it's not legally gambling, even though you're doing the same sort of process.
Well, I don't entirely understand how the websites work. Were people not paying real world money to get this chance at a loot box?
As far as I'm aware, the way it works is using the Counter-Strike skins. So a lot of the skins had had like monetary value to it. So this skin could be worth 40 quid. So then you would use that among other skins to place a bet on another skin, which would worth maybe 500. And then it would spin a wheel like a lotto spin. And if you land on it, then it hits on it. You go, oh shit! I just won skin worth £400. And then you can either cash it in, or you could bet with it again, and just keep doing it.
Okay, so that's kind of a very neat way of getting around gambling laws, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you remember those tokens you used to get that you could use in fruit machines?
Yeah.
But they made those count as if they were real money for gambling, so it's probably only a matter of time before these things get counted as gambling and they're regulated in the same way that gambling is, and that is shit hot.
Sorry, to interrupt. Apparently, we're having problems with the Twitch stream. It's not showing up on there.
Oh, really? Well, it was obviously going to go wrong.
Yes, it's just saying content not available. Oh, strange. We're on Mixer and YouTube. Fine. Huh?
I have stopped and restarted the stream, so hopefully that will rectify it. If not, no one uses Twitch anymore now anyway, do they? When the stream catches up, at the point that Cal said, got to make sure the stream works, was about the point that I changed it down.
Apologising to anyone watching on Twitch, Mixer.
Oh.
I think it's working.
Oh, yes. It's up now.
Aha.
Apparently I had to stop and restart once more.
Yeah, if you just bitrate, you have to. Yeah.
Everything you love about Earth is gone.
Silly things.
So hello. Sorry about that, everybody. We're
Yeah.
Sorry, Twitch viewers.
Technical difficulty.
in for the puppies. And I think that would be me. I'd be quite happy to see humanity get wiped out. That wouldn't be a problem. But if somebody threatened the puppies, then I'd arm up.
I was going to say, to be fair, that's probably the correct response. Yeah.
I don't think I've seen this. What is it, like a live-action trailer for Destiny 2?
It is. It doesn't feature any footage of Destiny 2 that I saw, to be fair, though. It just seems to be this odd live-action thing. But it is very cool, and it made me vaguely interested in Destiny 2, which I haven't previously been.
And then you will come to your senses and go, no.
I refuse to buy half a game for full price.
Yeah, it's true. And maybe because a lot of people are actually waiting for the PC version.
I think it's because it came out on the same day as NAC 2 and everyone got that instead.
Oh, absolutely.
No, it's more likely
What, the debilitating illness?
Millennium Edition.
It would probably run Windows program.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Windows Dreamcast, oh dear.
Yeah, well, the Dreamcast sort of... it was almost like it was the precursor to the Xbox, kind of, because Microsoft had quite a bit of involvement in it with creating a specialised version of CE for the Dreamcast. And then when Sega folded, Microsoft realised, actually, we could kind of capitalise on this. So they decided to use that basis to port DirectX. Did Saints Row change from... Oh, they did, didn't they? Because Saints Row 2 is a numeral.
Saints Row 2 was the number. Saints Row the third was the third one. Saints Row IV was 4.
Oh, actually, maybe they're doing it intentionally. They're doing a different way of writing it for each one.
It probably is
Saints
intentional.
Row is, yeah.
So,
but
what's
not
the
Apple.
fifth one going to be? Saints Row Quinto or something?
I can't imagine them doing the 5 stylized like GTA.
They'll just call it E or something. It's like a V upside down with a slash through it or something.
Oh, that'll be it. It won't be Saints Row 5. It'll be Saints Row V. That's racist.
No, Nintendo Switch. So this is good news because obviously if you look at the Wii U, no third-party titles. The Switch is now actually getting proper third-party titles, and we've
Eventually.
eventually. But we got, apart from Elder Scrolls Skyrim, which was confirmed during E3, we've now got Doom and Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, coming to the devices. And there was some screenshots someone took from Nintendo Direct. So they're just screen captures of comparison between the PS4 Doom and the Switch Doom. And it looks pretty good. I mean, there's a few muddied little...
So you'll be having it pretty close to your face.
Yeah, but nobody's really using the Switch as a handheld, are they?
I think everyone is because the performance is better.
Everyone's taking it on airplanes and going to basketball games and random
And going to Spain
rooftops.
with it.
You joke about that, but I was out a couple of weeks ago at a thing where lots of nerds were, and I legitimately did see people like putting 2 Switches back to back and playing 4-player something, probably Mario Kart.
Oh, that's awesome.
But people were
Well,
actually
you-
doing those things the trailer said, which made me feel a little bit ill.
At least they weren't playing a basketball game while sat on a basketball court.
Yeah, it's brilliant the fact that Nintendo have finally seen their way and go, yes, alright, don't fucking pay, like it was like they said, don't pay more than £80 for it, because we will be producing more stock. And it's really irritating how they've treated the previous one, the Mini NES. It's like a toy, almost, which is like a limited edition toy, and then once it's gone, you're never going to get one again. And they're doing right, it's an actual electronic product that people want, and people want to give you money for it. Make more of them.
Yeah, it's like, I think we've said this before about Nintendo. It's just how they approach everything, like as if they're a toy company rather than an electronics company. And it's frustrating when they do things that are limited, and their excuse is really weird. It's like, oh, and then you can't get on the internet to order one in the first place. But the NES Mini was like impossible, and that seemed to be worldwide. But the Americans are having real trouble still with the SNES Mini, and that just seems like a complete and utter mess at the pre-order state over there for that. So it's good that there's more stock, and I'm hopeful that this means I'll be able to pick up a NES Mini at some point next year.
Yeah, same here. I mean, it's the same with the Switch as well, isn't it? I've noticed that the Switch has got loads of stock back in. I saw that Amazon and Game have been selling them for £269, I think. I've spotted. I was half tempted to pick one up.
I sell the controllers separately, and it has got 4 controller support, and no one can get controllers.
There's always something. That happened before, didn't it? When Super Smash Bros. Came out, and they brought out the N64
the adapter for the
adapter,
controller.
Yeah. And everyone just, because they couldn't get the official Nintendo one, they ended up having to import a Chinese knockoff or some sort. This is what happened, Nintendo.
So actually, it's taken them 5 attempts to learn their lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I haven't done much else used, to be honest with you. I mean, the only other thing is maybe mentioning
Battlegrounds style mode. And today I got an email through telling me about this game called Prime Arena, which is here we go. This is a game in which the genre MOBA and the game mechanics of the PUBG project are combined.
That game looks so bad.
So people are actually marketing their games as a Battlegrounds style game.
Well, that's what they've got to do.
But basically, in Prime Arena, you're not on teams; it's all against all, and as you're fighting, the map gets smaller.
It's like 2007, so yeah, about 10 years ago.
Wow. 10 years since the MOBA genre. Oh dear.
Wow, I'm so old.
They've certainly got its influences across different games. I mean, GTA 5 has got its own sort of Battlegrounds mode, Battle Royale.
Yeah, their mini version.
Aces, yeah, Fortnite is the most recent one, but they've said it's sort of separated itself. So you've got the PvE mode still. So if you want to group up and build your shit and fight zombies, but you can hop into a pure PvP mode.
Yeah, it's split like how H1Z1 did, where it's now 2 separate things, and you load it up now, and instead of it going straight into the tower defense mode, it prompts you which one you want to play. Game, because aesthetically, it's got a lot in common with like the Plants vs Zombies style quirkiness. You know, that it's kind of cutesy and silly and over the top, but there's just some design decisions in there that are just really weird and don't feel right. And this PUBG style mode kind of fits in with that, in that it doesn't really feel like it should be in Fortnite, but it's kind of interesting in its own way. But
might be what separated itself to just, we've got this small little mini game that you guys can jump on, but the main attention is still on the main Fortnite tower defense game. What good game would probably make a good with a battle royale mode? Maybe Division or Tom Clancy's.
If he's killed somebody, then they become a zombie as well, and the last person left as a human can be the winner.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because that way no one gets assassinated, and it's kind of like a asymmetric multiplayer to start with. But then by the end of it, everyone's gunning for the last few people. That's kind of interesting, yeah.
It sounds a bit like one of the infected modes, though, like from Halo and Call of Duty. You'd have you'll be 8v8, for example, and then you'll have a group of survivors and a group of zombies, and if they kill the zombie, and eventually it does get to the point where one survivor's left.
I did not know that was a thing.
Or you can kill the zombies. There's another one where it's, people like to call Michael Myers as well.
Play in Halo Reach and Halo 5, apparently using custom games as well.
Amazing how we get so many custom games becoming full releases, just like Battlegrounds.
I see what you did there.
I managed to pull it back on topic. You're adept at this now.
Get a little bit better. I haven't really got much else to say about Battlegrounds, to be honest with you. You know, it's a success. We've got too many companies trying to ride on the success by making their own version of it. But people still will go back to the OG.
Yeah.
Well, it's exactly what happened with the MOBAs 10 years ago, where League of Legends became...
With it, and they were like, yeah, stop what you're doing, fuck off.
Even the developers from Heroes of New Earth, which was one of the... which was Dota 2 before Dota 2 came out, they gave up in 2015, and just the game's still going because another company picked it up, but the original developers just left. They gave up on it.
That's kind of what it kind of feels like. That's what Fortnite's doing, like Epic are doing with Fortnite. It's like, oh, we jumped on this trend because tower defense was really popular. We thought we'd have this game out years ago. Oh, what's currently popular? PUBG. Oh, can we quickly make something that's like that? And I don't know. It feels a bit like just smashing things together in the hope that it does okay.
I think because they gave it everyone who owned a copy of Dead Island got it. And it's like, play the MOBA. We made a MOBA. It's like, yeah, shit. I was going to something a bit more interesting, a bit more topical that we could maybe bounce back and forth on. I don't know all the details about this, but this is something that Catty brought up in on our Discord, and he was saying about a very amusing, what was it, a radio piece you were listening to? There was an article about it?
I was listening to the radio at work today, and it was during the news segment, and they suddenly said, they suddenly just heard a sound clip that said...
How often, though, did you get a game where you didn't read the cassette inlay until later on, and like it bore no relevance to the story to the action that was playing out in front of you, and if you read the story, then you wouldn't have any idea what game that was about.
The best type of those was the games where it was a budget re-release, and like the game actually required something fairly substantial, like important, that was in the inlay or the little instruction sleeve or something. But because you'd bought a budget re-release, it didn't actually have that in its original form, so you'd just be stuck.
This is, of course, before the days where you could just look it up online.
Yeah, and then
no idea what to do.
I'm sort of chuckling in my mind of like when you were saying like phone a tips line for cheat codes and where to go, and it's like you're in a phone booth and you see all the sexy call lines, and you see this where it says game tips, beat the game. And you go, oh, I'll take that. Ooh, that'd be good.
The hottest solutions.
Biggest cheat codes.
So, what are you wearing? I'm wearing my +3 braces of stamina.
I'm wearing poke 1 into 54762.
Oh, yeah.
It says in the article that they're starting to get to the point where graphics aren't progressing fast enough for there to be a visual difference between successive games. So now they're looking at other things to make people want to buy the next game. And obviously they're going with story, which is not a bad thing, because if the story sells more games, then maybe we'll get less multiplayer-only games, or games sold purely on their multiplayer.
I think that's the thing, is that what else can you do? Because they've already got the whole FIFA Ultimate Team, and I'm pretty sure there's a Madden equivalent for, just like buying and selling little cards, and like once you've saturated them.
The interview that who is one of the main characters in the story mode of Madden 18. He is pretty typecast, because pretty much of the 10 or so games he's been in, about 7 of them are superhero games, and he's played Nightwing 3 times. So yeah, he's a superhero guy.
Oh yeah.
Well, that
He's,
killed the conversation for a moment.
That's the same as a lot of like voice actors and mocap actors and performers in video games. They do get cast as the same role, Joker.
No.
Just no.
He doesn't even know if he's going to fucking play the Joker again because of the talk about this standalone Joker origin. Well, we're just going off topic now.
Well, it's to do with stories. It's still on topic. We can make it on topic.
It's not really video games, is it?
It might be. There might be a standalone Joker video game tie-in. You don't know.
I know that.
There probably won't be, to be fair.
Oh, there's always a video game. I mean, whether it'll be any good is another story, but there's always a video game.
Oh, it's always a video game. I mean, there's one thing actually related to this we could say about with Batman and Joker and all that. So Rocksteady are pretty much done with their
I don't think Rocksteady would. They'd be too tempted to do that with him. So I think they'd leave Superman to someone else.
Yeah, that's a good point. Although, to be fair, I did quite like the Superman Returns game, so I'm no judge of Superman game quality, to be honest.
I had that on Game Boy Advance, and it was terrible even on that.
There's two kind of things that's going to make it, because obviously there's the obvious one, which is everyone's going to go, oh, Superman 64. Every single review will start with a paragraph about how bad that was and will this game be any better. But also, like, how do you make a Superman game challenging? Because Batman, you can make challenging because he is just a regular guy with a lot of gadgets and an expensive suit.
That's right, yeah.
And that's a good way of doing it because it brings in Superman, because Superman never uses his full power set, because the times he does, he turns into a mass murdering psychopath. So it'd be a good way of maybe like making Superman have to show restraint to try and save people rather than beat up bad guys. Turn the genre a little bit on its head.
I want to play
more into what Superman is as a character.
I want to see a Superman game where you get to play as an evil psychopath who goes on a murderous rampage. I'd buy that.
That's Injustice, basically.
Yeah, it's not the same. Like, I want him to, sort of go shoot up a church or something.
Yeah,
the story from Captain Quark. Is it Captain Quark? Yeah, the green dude. It's from his point of view. But it seems kind of quite cheap. They clearly there's a lot of reused footage. It felt a bit like cheating to me. I'm glad I played the game before the film, because I think I would have got a bit pissed off if I'd done it the other way round.
Yeah, wasn't it like... I'd imagine it was being developed at the same time, so they're using the same engine to create the game and to do the CG for the movie. So the movie, they just, blow it out in high detail for bigger budget. And the game, obviously, they have to have the constraints of the PS4 behind it.
That scene didn't seem to really have any relevance other than we want a scene where there's some pod racing. It didn't add to the plot. So I kind of felt like that was done to create video games. I can't think of that many other examples where that's kind of been done, where they've just put something in for the sake of being able to make a spin-off game.
No, you could probably argue perhaps Tron, although none of the really gamey bits in Tron ever really made it into any games. Not the old stuff, anyway.
Well, there was a Matrix video game that had... well, the main stars of the games were essentially two non-essential characters.
Yeah, it was Ghost and... I can't remember the other character's name. The woman character.
Played Wayne's World on the SNES. Really, really awful, but it had a really dreadful digitized version of Bohemian Rhapsody from the film. And it's the only good thing about it, because the game itself was awful. It's all about... Do you remember that scene in Wayne's World where he's jumping around in platforms, shooting enemies with a magical guitar?
Yes.
It's all based on that scene, apparently.
We've forgotten another very recent, well, relatively recent movie tie-in game. The 2016 version of
The worst part was it was called Ghostbusters. It had no subtitle to it. It was just called Ghostbusters to make you think, oh, this is the brand new awesome game. No, clearly not, because Ghostbusters, the previous one from 2009, was far superior.
That was a great
Yes.
game.
Far superior, and that truly was considered, Ghostbusters 3.
Yeah, wasn't it based off of a script that was made for Ghostbusters 3 that never became a movie or something?
Something along those lines.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it definitely had direct involvement from the cast, but I can't think if it was based on the
Release a film that's called the same thing as a film that already exists, so that's why you get films that have got but completely different names and places.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. And this is very interesting as well, because I discovered that the new Pirates of the Caribbean is actually it's called Dead Man Tell No Tales, but over in here in the UK, it's called Salsavar's Revenge, which threw me off guard when I was looking up. I was like, wait, what was it called? No, okay.
What?
Yeah, so the new Pirates of the Caribbean is called Dead Men Tell No Tales in the US, and presumably most around
A year or two earlier on the Amstrad and Spectrum called
Yeah,
Star
the
Fox.
follow-on to Arctic Fox and what was the other one? Was the other one called Desert Fox?
Desert
It was a
Fox, was
trilogy of games anyway. Yeah, it was a trilogy. But yeah, the Star Fox story is the one that's always told, but I don't know whether it's because of those games or not.
Might have just been being overly cautious, I suppose.
Yeah.
There was because it was sort of about then, wasn't it, that people were starting to realise the value in copyrighting things on games. Because that's when we had that guy that was trying to copyright the word edge in relation to games, if you remember.
Yeah.
Oh, and they ended up trying to
Easy.
sue everybody using that name.
Yeah, maying YouTubers, but they backed down, didn't they? They just made it gameplay share. I think they went with instead. I can't actually remember what it's called. It's just that button on the side of the control pad now.
Oh,
That
yeah.
everyone hates when they push.
Yeah, you're thinking it's the options button or some sort, the select button.
Yeah, hold on, let me just pause. Oh, for fuck's sake.
You you can change the function of the button, so I've got it set to just take a stationary screenshot, so it doesn't go into a menu every time I press it.
Oh, that's not bad actually. That'd be useful for screenshotting.
Yes, exactly why I did it. To be fair.
Ha.
So you can change it so the way that I've got it set up now, and you can.
Here we go. Okay. So, thanks for listening to the Game GrinCast. For more episodes, please find us on iTunes as well as on the Game Grin website. We're also now on Stitcher for those who have that app on their phone or tablet or whatever it may be. You can also check us out on GameGrin.com for the latest news, reviews, and gameplay. We're also on Facebook. Just go ahead and search us with GameGrin. Follow us on Twitter at GameGrin. And for the GrinCast, please be sure to follow at GrinCast. We're on Instagram still, I believe. Someone remind me.
Game Grin site.
Game Grin site. There it is. Instagram. And lastly, please be sure to check out
To the pod.
I
Choke
mean,
to death just after you finish.
I mean, you say finish, but I'm still streaming because I like to give the live viewers a little bit of a sort of idea of what we're doing in the
glimpse
scenes.
glimpse into behind the scenes.
Also, it took me so long to find that last picture that I feel it needs a little bit more screen time before it disappears.
Oh dear. That looks horrible. I don't actually remember that.
I stole it from your Facebook page. Basically, when I was doing the Gamescom news special, I wanted a picture of you in cello, so I just went on your Facebook profiles and found the most embarrassing picture of each of you I could find. It changes the shape of my face, and I quite like it. But what I have noticed is on the videos, I'm going to need to start wearing different colour t-shirts, because I have so many black things, and it just sort of, my beard merges into the t-shirt now. It's got that long, so you kind of can't see where my t-shirt ends and my face begins anymore.
Alternatively, do cosplay as male Bayonetta. You'll Your
Where I
beard
just
becomes
dress
your
myself
clothes.
in my own beard.
Yeah, that seems like a perfectly legitimate strategy. I think that
There
works.
is. I can't remember where it is. I think it's in
That's some good stuff for the beard.
Holland, where there's and you scratch your beard and a little bit of like beard dandruff comes down, and everyone can see that you've got beard dandruff because it's all over your chest.
Nice.
Yeah, it's horrible. Having a beard is a lot of work. I thought it was just going to be stop shaving and that's it, but no, it's added an extra sort of 15 minutes onto my shower routine.
The annoying thing with mine is, like, if I try and... Because I got one of them electric trimmers that, like, you can adjust the scale of it. So I try and do that, and you try and even it out, but there's always a corner where your chin is, or like an edge that sort of sticks out, and then you try and trim it with a pair of scissors. So you find yourself trimming it with ages and ages with a pair of scissors.
GrinCast, home of facial hygiene.
Yeah, video games, news, reviews, previews, and haircare tips. On that note, I'm going to stop